Even when I was a schoolboy away at Jolly boarding school near Oxford, I wanted a London South Western carriage, and I had lovely plans. I'd drawn pictures and made sketches of a railway carriage in a garden and everything. The only thing that went wrong was that we never actually owned a house again which had a garden to put a carriage in. So the idea went by the board for 50 years or more. I joined the railway up here as a volunteer. I work on the track and do odd jobs, mostly idiot jobs these days because I forget everything. I found them up here, and the chap who brought them here had gone bust and been unable to do anything with them. So that I was able to pick up two of these for £600, £300 each. A lovely man called John Down was a retired nuclear scientist from Harwell. He and I set about restoring these two. John had number 70 and I had number 76. Sadly, about 8 years ago, John died of cancer, and I was left with both the coaches. Then I started having illness problems as well, and I just couldn't go on. All I've been able to do was simply to fight the battle to stop them falling to pieces. And the weather up here is horrific. I mean, anything at 90-mile-an-hour gales, almost endless rain in South Wales, as always. Then miraculously, the Titanic people chipped in and said, well, we've got a connection with the Titanic. Can we have them? So I said, yes. I gave them to them. They are now the executive owners of this, and they're working with the Mid-Hants Railway at the moment to get them down to Ropley and restore them, both of them, to first-class condition as they would have been in 1908. This would originally have been seating for 17 people to dine in, and the kitchen catered for both first and second-class passengers. In that dining saloon, which seated 11 people down the other end of the carriage, sat some of the first-class passengers on the Titanic, and they would have sat in there in comfortable brocade seats with a nice clear story over the top. The kitchen even had a locker in it for champagne and wine glasses too, all of which are detailed in the plans which we've got. So they were quite exotic carriages in their day. At the time of Dunkirk, they were lurking in a siding in South London, and they were pressed into service to help to take soldiers away from Dunkirk, from Dover Marine Station, because as the chaps came ashore from France, soaking wet, freezing cold, there was cups of tea and buns and some sort of welcome for them, and they were distributed all over the country. They were taken anywhere almost to get them away from Dover Marine. But they were certainly part of that, so it had a hand in the rescuing from Dunkirk too. Well, that's one of the interesting quirks about this story. What is it that brought me as a dreamy schoolboy who was secretary of the Model Railway Club at school? What is it that brought me into owning these two carriages? What would I do? The answer was Ballywell save them. And if people wanted to burn them, well, they could burn in hell first before I did. So thank God the Titanic people came along and took us over, so we're delighted to hand them over to put them into good hands, and I hope I'll last long enough to see them go again.